Let's do it.
Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and a new show with my brother from another mother. Thank football, it's Friday. I will have to watch that, you know. I will have to watch that because I will end up saying it. Paul O'Connor says Friday night football show with Joe and Gaz. Loads of smiley faces. What more could you want, right? What more could you want? Like you said, Gaz, it's been a long time coming, this.
Yeah, man. I mean, wow, when did we first cross paths? So Talking Shut is 4, I think. 4, nearly 5. And my first knowing of the Joe Wainman was in a pitched the gloves are off type battle with some Borough dude who got quite angry whenever Leeds were mentioned, and he looked like he had a very questionable BMI. And then we were on one night, and you and him were having like a bit of a like over the table. Almost felt like some of these Ukrainian things you see that punch each other over the table and see who knocks each other out. And we were doing Talking Shit, and we were a bit like, I'm not sure about this, lad. You know, it's a bit painful. So we like dug you out a little bit, I think, which I'm not ashamed to say. And then, you know, lo and behold, a couple of months later, you came on the show, and this beautiful blossoming romance was born. And then what have we had in between? Awards ceremonies, matches, everything that goes between that. Yeah, been class.
Yeah, I was actually I actually said to Amy after we're doing this, and we're gonna have a little chat. And she says, "Oh, I remember what Talking Shut said about you actually when you did that video." I was like, "Yeah," because I listen, because obviously it's like OG stuff. Like obviously now there is so many podcasts, so many YouTubers, so many things and. Like Talking Shut, along with Square Ball, LS11, were sort of the originals, if you like, and then obviously All Leeds TV and All Leeds TV had a totally different lineup before I came on, and then when I came on, and then we did the AJT, wasn't it? AJT,
yeah, that's a good.
I even bust out of my shed. I do remember.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, it's bizarre because like when we started Talking Shut, little known fact, some people do know this, but I was on a podcast before Talking Shut, the Supporters Trust podcast. That's how I got into podcasting. And then obviously I know the guys at the Square Ball, Michael particularly, and they were having a bit of a hiatus. So I'd done the Supporters Trust podcast, and then it kind of came to an end a little bit. And that was it. I kind of shelved it. I thought that's it, done. It was kind of good while it lasted. Enjoyed it. Got to interview some cool people: Simon Ricks, David Prutton, Ben Parker, Calaris, various people like that. And then I kind of went, oh yeah, that's it. It's done. It's come to an end. I'll just carry on being dad, worker, all that type of stuff. So I kind of disappeared off into sunset. Me and Binky from our podcast, Ben, and then I got contacted by a radio station asking us if we wanted to sort of set up a new one on theirs. And like we were joking earlier, Joe, in WhatsApp, like, what can we call this show? And like, I came up with thank football, it's Friday, which I'll definitely swear every now and again. But we were kind of the same. We're Talking Shut. We were, what should we call it? And we came up with really loads of crap names. And then eventually we were just like, you know what? We don't take ourselves seriously. Let's just call ourselves Talking Shut after Carl Shut. And then it stuck. And then obviously we started.
Do you not remember when I thought you were Carl Shut? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that, no.
So the first one, mate, I actually was on with Binky, Ben, and I think it must have been Raggy. And you weren't there, the first ever one. And
yeah, I do remember this actually.
Yeah, and they'd gone round, and I went, oh yeah, listen, I don't know what the conversation was, and I went, and I just had a total mind fuck and forgot his name. I don't know his name, and then I went like that, and Carl, and then I remember on the next episode you go, turns out Joe thinks I'm Carl Shut.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, mate, it's funny. Like we've had some funny times. I mean, obviously we started with LS11. But little known fact, Ryan was actually on a podcast before that called the Proper Sport Football Show. And that's how he kind of started. And then obviously we started, and I'm going to take credit for this, and you can clear this up for anybody who's watching now. We started, and we had Michael Norman on. I've known Michael for quite a few years now, actually. And we had him on, said, it'd be good to have you on, Michael. And he came on, and after the show had ended, they were like, I might ring the lads and see what they fancy doing about the square ball. And then lo and behold, the square ball are back, taking over the game, you know, on there with Phil and stuff. So I'm taking full credit for the square ball returning after their 10-year. So I hate us like. So yeah. So basically, mate, it took us about 4.5 years, nearly 5 years to get to a point when we'd do a show together. It's nice.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. They're the goats, aren't the square ball? That's like they're very good. We're both doing the walk as well. I'm a little bit gutted that you found someone else to top and tail with, mate, if I'm honest. But
to be fair, mate, he in old school saying he bagged me first.
Really?
To be honest, when Michael messaged me and said, "Oh, you've got a place on the walk," I was like, "Brilliant!" And he's like, "And Adam Barlow, shout out Adam Barlow, top guy." But like, he's already bagged you as a roommate. I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll pretty much doss with anybody. Like I'm not picky, like kind of thing." But yeah, mate, it'll be good. End of May. So yeah. Done any walking? You done any mooching about it?
Well, I'm at the gym, mate. I'm at the gym at the minute. I've lost 8 pounds. I did the Yorkshire cancer thing, and I've been doing the 90 minutes of exercise a week. So, I should be in a good place. I to be honest, I've started using the stepper. Do you know when you go in gyms and you look at certain equipment, you see like the ones where they go like this. Well, I don't even know what it's called. And then the
cross trainer, that mate. That's a cross trainer.
That's cross trainer. And I've always thought, they're nothing. But these gym where I go to, they've got built-in programs, so they have HIIT workouts built into them. And I did a 15-minute HIIT workout on a stepper, and I swear to God, it ruined me. It ruined me. And the guy who does it is like, "Oh yeah, I think he's Hugo or whatever he called, and he's climbed Machu Picchu." And he said, "This is how I trained on a machine." And I was like, I can tell why, man, because it's brutal. If I keep going on that, by the time in May, man, I'll be just running it. I'll just run it all.
Yeah. Mate, do you know what the best thing is? I've done a couple of these walks with that Michael set up before. And the best thing about it is because everybody is a Leeds fan, pretty much. Yeah. You can spend your time just flitting between groups of people and just discussing Leeds. It's ace, and you get loads of like little different views, and like you always find some interesting character who's been going since like 1973 or something, and you get all their stories as well. So it's class. You can pass hours like just chatting away about Leeds and stuff. Yeah. So it'll be good crack, man. I'm looking forward to it. And in name of good cause and stuff as well. So it'll be good, man. So Friday night, ticking over, football's on the horizon. And it sounds weird that because football happens all the time now. They have Monday night football, Wednesday night football, Thursday
Although
night
it's been a long 2 weeks, though.
It felt like it, mate, yeah. I must admit I was ready for the Villa game when it started. I ate too long of a break because I'm one of these like Leeds United content whores where I have to like check the app a couple of times just in case there's like a video of Bielsa drinking mate in his room or something like that. Just because
have you had that, Gary?
Yes, mate. We got some when we were on Talking Show. We got sent some. Apologies at the moment. I can't remember who actually sent us it, but we had Mickey P. Kerr on the night that we got some, so we're all there drinking mate on the show. Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I'm not sure. You know, I'm a bit of a tea connoisseur. Yorkshire tea all the way. I weren't that much of a fan.
It's not good at all. It's like, not good at all.
Crap green tea, innit? Pretty much.
Yeah, it's really not good. I got sent a load with his name is don't do this. Nacho Z. He's got a YouTube channel. He's the fan that, I don't know if you remember, managed to get into the game where we won promotion, and he did a YouTube video. He got to meet Bielsa, but he weren't allowed. I heard this. No, yeah, Nacho he's called. Right. And he never told me who got him in, but basically, who was it the night that where they had the celebrations outside Ellen Road? Who did we beat? It's not Bristol City, was it?
No, it was Charlton, was it? We buried Charlton, didn't we? Relegate them? Was that not that game?
Was it?
Derby was one where we were pissed. Barnsley, who was it?
Yeah, no, it might have been Barnsley when we drew, right?
0-0, awful.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, he rocked up at that game
no, it can't have been because we got promoted. We basically got promoted against Swansea, didn't we? It was a game after. Charlton. It was Charlton, mate. We beat them 3-0.
It was a night game, wasn't it?
Lee Bowyer was stood up on thing watching it as the third goal went in when he was Charlton manager. I'm sure it were.
It was the night with the bus. Who did we play with the bus?
Oh, mate, somebody needs to shout this out. I'm having a mind fart. I'm sure it was Charlton. I'm sure
saying Charlton. It was the game with the bus. Yeah. It was the game with the bus.
It were Charlton, definitely.
Because like Padar says, it can't have been that night because that was Huddersfield when they beat West Brom. Yeah, it was the night they did the bus.
I'm sure it was Charlton. The bus. Charlton, I'm pretty sure.
It might have been Charlton.
Yeah.
4-0. Yeah, everyone's saying 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. That's the one.
Charlie at Chatting Leeds. Make sure you check out his channel. Yeah. There we go. See, me and Gary, not great memories, but yeah, there's another story, guys. The bus, me and you, you know, because we were content creators, we're told, stay away from Ellen Road.
It kind of still sticks at me a little bit. That's the one that kind of like hurts a bit. It kind of
were asked, weren't we, to promote staying away from Ellen Road, and I won't tell the player's name because it'd be unfair for me to do so. But someone actually, he's no longer with the club, but he messaged to say, get yourself down to Ellen Road. And I remember, I don't know if I'd let you know or whatever, and we had a conversation. It was like, no, best not. And then it all went ahead, and that. I'm the same as you. It hurts because I did go to Millennium Square. I don't know if you did, so maybe
I didn't know.
Yeah, it probably stings even more for you.
Yeah, massively stings. I mean, we the same organisation that contacted us both, we kind of promoted there, stay away, protect the players, protect the NHS, all that type of stuff. And then like the club put on this big thing, and I was like, oh God, I've waited so long to get promoted, and it hurts. But do you know what? Like it stung, but like I've said this a few times for anybody who watches Talking Short, like the night we got promoted against West Brom. When Huddersfield beat West Brom, I was at work and we've been doing watch-alongs, much like yourself, just really to keep Talking Short ticking over because we'd stopped really podcasting together, and we got a few messages off people, and we did like one watch-along, and we got a few messages of people saying, "Oh, thanks so much for doing this. I'm struggling. I'm on my own. I'm isolating, all this type of stuff." So like we carried on doing it as you did, and a few other content creators did, and that night when we beat them. The lads Binky and Raggy, and I think Paddy was with us then on the pod. He was like, "Are we gonna watch this?" And I was like, "I'm at work until like 6." And they were like, well, it kicks off at I think like 5." And I was like, "Oh, Judd'll jump on." Like my lad, he was like 12 at the 11 at the time. I was like, Judd'll just jump on and talk about the game, like, and then obviously gets home and Emile Smith Rowe fires Leeds to the Premier League, and then. Yeah, just got pissed on internet, which were quite hilarious, really. Me and Raggy, there's some pictures floating around. And I mean, this will probably come back to haunt me in a few years' time, but me and Raggy with scarves tied around as they're drinking Bollinger at like 10. And I did that thing as well of having, over the years, I've accumulated some contacts through Talking Short of like ex-players and Leeds-related people. And I just like did a massive dump into my phone and just messaged loads of people and said, "Look, we're on a live stream. Do you want to come on?" And so many people have contacted me after and said, "I saw your text, but I just thought it'd be a really bad idea to come on the internet when you lot were pissed." I was like, yeah, to be fair, it was a really bad idea. I think we turned it off at like 12:30 and I woke up covered in cans of lager. But you know what? I missed Millennium Square and I missed outside the ground, but it was worth it to have that memory with my mates as well. After we'd watched it all together and we'd been sort of involved with it as well. It were class, to be fair. I wouldn't change it, although it does sting a bit. So.
Yeah, I think I spoke to you, didn't we, when we got promoted? Because I've got video FaceTime.
Yeah.
I think I spoke to you.
I was just FaceTiming everybody.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, it was a bit of because I was working, man. I was working because I just didn't see Huddersfield getting that result.
No, never did I, mate.
We're not the only ones. Look, Padar McKenna stuck in Ireland the whole summer. Charlie was in Tenerife with the missus. There was some that were lucky enough to go there. Like David said, all Leeds TV were there. Yeah, Tash and Jack were there, and I had a little bit of a fallout with them as well. So I don't know if they'll remember, but we did a stream as well, I think, or we had something planned, and then it was like, "Oh, Joe, we can't make the stream." And I was going, "You're going there, right? You're going there."
Yeah, buggers. Yeah, do you know what, mate? I like
even more.
It's dead easy now. Back in hindsight with everything that's gone with COVID and stuff, but at the time being in and amongst it, and we'd lost Norman, which I'll be honest, like Norman Hunter dying hurt me pretty bad, and I don't know if it was because I was a tiny bit emotional throughout the whole COVID thing as well, and it was a bit of like a time, but it stung, that one really, really stung. Norman passing away, because I was very lucky enough to meet him when Eddie and Katie scored the winner against Brentford. And it'll probably be my favourite Leeds United memory. I don't think much will be able to surpass it. He dead-armed me on gantry at Ellen Road because Pablo had misplaced a pass. And I think the words along the line were, "What's he doing trying to make that ball?" And I was like, "Right, you're Norman Hunter. You won the 66 World Cup. you're an absolute Leeds legend, but you're also ripping Pablo as also a Leeds legend. I'm not really sure where I sit on this divide. So I just kind of like, whatever you said, Norman, to be honest. And he got to half time and he shook me and patted me on my shoulder and strutted off down the gantry. Never saw him again. Obviously, after that, he passed away due to COVID. But yeah, great times. I think, yeah, man, good memories. But anyway, we're here like 4.5 years, 5 years later. We've got a show now. The Gaz and Joe Friday, it's football, whatever it's called. We'll work it out.
Yeah. We'll work it out.
So tonight, then, there's a bit of WSL action. Chelsea versus Arsenal. We're talking to one of the girls at work today, and she was quite excited for this. They're about the best two teams in the WSL at the moment. And she said basically whoever wins this game wins it. So that's tonight. A bit of Scottish football, Edinburgh City, La Liga. Do you watch much La Liga, Joe?
I don't, mate. Nah. To be honest, right? My whole footballing world consists around Leeds United. It's genuine. So, like, when we were in the Championship, I would sample a lot of Championship football and listen to a lot of Championship podcasts and only watch, like, the big games in the Premier League, genuinely. I remember going on a Liverpool podcast, right? Is it Redmen? Redmen TV?
Redmen.
The big one. Chris Padjek, I think his name is. And it was obviously last season, it was our first game. So, like, we moved into the Premier League and then all Leeds TV, like, we started getting contacted left, right, and centre because you're in the Premier League now. And I remember going on there and saying the Premiership. Was it the Premier? And he went, "Oh, you even call it the Premiership?" And I was like, "Man, I'm going, is that not what it's called?" And I went, "Oh,
it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been there." Yeah, it's madness, mate. So in La Liga action tonight, Sevilla versus Elche, and a certain Kiko Casillas on the bench for Elche. Wow. So he hasn't exactly gone up in the world, has he? But
what do you reckon will happen with that?
I just don't think we'll ever see him in a Leeds shirt ever again, to be honest. I think he'll probably... I mean, how long's he got left in his deal? 2 years? He's got this year and next year. I think it'll be one of mutual termination things in summer, maybe. If not, I don't know. Because there were some rumours a bit ago, that Elche didn't want to keep him because he weren't featuring, and again, he's on the bench tonight. So I'm not sure. I mean, I don't see him coming back ever featuring here again, to be honest.
No.
Either way, so I don't know. No. Fat Frank derby tomorrow. I know we're desperate not to cover stuff we've already covered, but like, how much do you hate Frank Lampard, Joe?
I really hate him.
On a scale between 8 and 10, how much do you hate him?
Yeah, I genuinely really hate him. I was listening to Talking Shut earlier, actually, on my walk. I took the dog out for a long walk today, and I had Jizz on, and because you were speaking about Spy Gate and it getting spoken about. I think it was in the Liverpool Echo you mentioned, and trying to drum up that thing again of Spy getting that. And I actually said on my preview earlier, I'll always dislike the man, but I'm actually quite surprised at how quiet it has been in terms of Spygate chitter, really, from mainstream media. Do you think?
I think the problem is, mate, you've got Kurt Zuma volleying Bengal Tigers Bengal Cats up and down kitchen, so they're a bit more focused on him at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's a rhetoric that's just grown legs and got out of control, because the reality of the matter was that it was an intern who Marcelo had sent down, as he'd done to every single team that season, and he basically went and stood. Now, like, we got a little bit of a nudge prior to him getting caught, saying that he'd only not been able to see 2 teams train in the run up to their games. And I'll not mention.
Oh, I didn't know about that. No,
that was the thing we'd been told. But like, ultimately, it was just a man stood on a path, and then when Frank gets hold of it, he's suddenly like got a gun and some bolt croppers, and like he's adorned head to toe in black with like just his eyes cut out, like some sort of like movie style ninja who's been like sneaking around the training ground, which is, it's ridiculous. And do you know what? Like, at the time, you look at it and you go, I can understand a tiny amount of why, people get a bit precious about the sneaky clandestine nature of it. But in reality, when Marcelo did that PowerPoint, I mean, we did an emergency podcast because we all thought he was going to walk. And like in the day, I'd text multiple people who I thought might know. And every one of them came back and said, "Do you know what? We don't know. We've just been told to go to the training ground, and I was still a bit panicky. And then obviously he did that, and you were like, it just makes a complete mockery. But the worst thing about it is it dragged on for so long. And Angus Kinnear actually said to us when he came on our podcast that they were upset at the club of how long it had dragged on, because they believed it began to have an effect, sort of hanging over the club a little bit. And ultimately, the media shitstorm, for want of a better word, dressed it up around it and made it into something that actually it wasn't. It was quite hilarious to see loads of training grounds pop up with green sheeting around their training ground, which were quite hilarious. I went down to watch Izzy Brown in one of his jaunts out for the 23s down at Sheffield Wednesday, and they'd covered the entire training ground in like this green tarpaulin to try and stop people spying in, which were quite funny. But yeah, I mean, it got made into nothing. Frank dined out on it a little bit. But it set up a perfect rhetoric for that semi-final defeat to Derby in playoffs. And you know what? I still stick by to this day that Derby didn't beat us in that playoff semi-final. We beat ourselves. Yeah. And I thought naivety of Frank and his tactics showed in the final when he tried to set up exactly the same as he did against us, against Villa, and ultimately got his pants pulled down and his ass slapped. And then he went to, he took Derby from... He took Derby from perennial playoff contenders to failure again, and then he took
56, didn't he?
Yeah, 56. Then goes to Chelsea, and there's all this transfer ban,
third to fourth.
Yeah, transfer ban, all this nonsense. Yeah, like they had a multi-billion-pound squad anyway, and again took them from third to fourth. Then he gets a bit of money, wastes it on people, gets sacked, and then he suddenly reappears as the next great hope for Everton, and you just think. This rhetoric around him is ridiculous, and if you compare him and Gerrard, who Gerrard's gone up, and all right, he's done great success up in Scotland, but it's a dog and duck league, and it's essentially 2-horse race. But listen to his comments after the Leeds game against Villa the other night, measured, fair comments. And you listen to Frank week in, week out, he's just a walking soundboard. He must have gone to like the Gary Monk school of post-match. And, I look at it and I speak to a few Everton fans, and they said that their biggest concern going into the January window were the lack of depth at centre-half. And ultimately went and signed Van der Beek and Dele Alli, who, if they ever reach the heights that they're capable of, are world-class players between.
I think, guys, they were actually, like Frank, this is the arrogance of the man. Instead of working with what he's got, I think he said, "You get me Ali and Van der Beek, and I'll come." Do you know what I mean? One of them kind of things.
That says more about him, though, doesn't it? Because Everton have got multi-million-pound owners, billion-pound owners. They're a wealthy club, and if that's what he's saying, does it? Like you've heard the stories. I know Phil A talked about it on his show again today when he did the little bit about Diego Reyes, and he was saying that 150. Some guy had wrote to Bielsa wanting to be an analyst, and Bielsa went, go and watch 150 games and give me feedback on them, and I'll consider you coming to be an analyst. So Frank's in at Everton. That conversation will have been going on for a while before Rafa Benitez went. And based on what he's seen, you're telling me that he went, get me Van der Beek and Ali, and I'll pull you away from relegation. It's not. It's just like a lick of a finger, stick you up in air. Which way is wind blowing? Them two are big names. Go get me them two. And you're just like. I mean, I didn't catch the other game the other night, but a few lads said that when they brought Ali on, he actually made Everton worse.
Mate, he was at fault. He lost the ball in the lead up to their, I don't know if it was 2-1. Yeah, it had been 2-1 because the first two were own goals for either side. Dele Alli lost the ball, and then his tracking run to get back in was non-existent. It was non-existent, and I think Alan St. Maximin crossed it. I watched the game because they're down there with us kind of thing, and Dele Alli. No, and because I do a Premier League preview show on that, and we have a Spurs fan on Matt, and he was glowing about Dele Alli, but I said he's done. I think he's done now, and this whole rhetoric is Frank Lampard will bring out Dele Alli and all this sort of stuff, and I just don't see it, pal.
I mean, what is Dele Alli? Is he 25, 26, something like that? I mean,
I will check though.
I think to stick a pin in him and say he's done might be a bit harsh, but I don't know. 25. I don't know. I don't think Everton is something that rejuvenates him. He strikes me, Ali, that like a move abroad, like a spell in Italy, like Tammy Abrams has done, or something like that, might revitalize his career a little bit. But yeah, I agree with 8563. I said that he's his time's kind of spent, and it does feel like that. And like, you know, looking at Donny van der Beek,
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I don't think he'll ever be the Dele Alli that we, you know, when he first came from MK Dons and burst onto the scene, you know?
No, I agree, mate. And I mean, do you know something? Me and you, we've got potential to become a right soundbite here for Everton fans, but like, you know, Donny van der Beek is a world-class player, but does he fit in that Everton side? Does he give them what they need? You know, how much of an effect has it sat on the... I mean, he is still Premier League unproven, really, because he hasn't played any games. Them scummers didn't give him any chance. So, like, we've seen plenty of world-class players come to Premier League and not succeed because it's a different sport, really, over here. It's a different speed, a different physicality, a different... everything's different about the English game. So it'd be interesting to see if he can get into that Everton side and show his ability in that Everton side. But I'm not sure. I've got a stat bomb for you, Joe, before we crack on. So Frank Lampard's team have lost 11 of their last 14 Premier League games. 11 of 14. That is a painful run.
Is this Frank Lampard or Everton?
It's just Everton, but they put Frank Lampard's team to carry a bit more weight. The other one, though, about Leeds is since promotion, in the 14 fixtures against teams in the bottom 5 of the Premier League, Leeds have won 10, scoring 27 times in the process. But you know what this means, Joe, don't you? 1-0 shithouse defeat tomorrow. But yeah, like, everything's set up. They're missing players, you know, all that type of stuff. Everything's set up for us to go. And do you know something? I think tomorrow, we win tomorrow, it pulls us away a little bit more. It pushes Everton deeper into it. The bottom 3 have got to fight their way out of it. And I think, would it make us something like 7 points clear? Something like that?
Well, we're 6 currently, bro. We're 6 currently. So it'd be even greater. And I think the thing for me is just what's been pissing me off. Like, I have notifications on certain Twitter people, on certain sites, and one of them is the Premier League. And every game week they'll do a top 6 and they do a bottom 6 graphic, and we're always there because we're the 6th team. And I'm like, I just want to get out of the bottom 6 so that every time they put out that graphic and say the relegation race is hotting up, that we're no longer in that graphic. And if we win at the weekend, then I think Brentford would drop in and we'd still have 2 games at hand on them. We're only like 2. Let me have a look. I'm just going to get the standings up. We are, right, mate. So we've got 17, 23. Yeah. So we've got 6 points on Norwich, but we're only 2 behind Palace and we have a game in hand. And, you know, the rhetoric that's been thrown at Patrick Vieira and Palace this season, they've been unbelievable. But, you know, win at the weekend, and if other results go our way, then we could be sat in 13th, pal.
Yeah, and I mean, do you know, I've like, as much as we've stuttered, do you know what's been encouraging for me, particularly in sort of the last 5 games, is that the performance is back. You know, the Leeds United. I mean, West Ham away, Villa away on Wednesday, and even Newcastle for 85 minutes. I know we weren't sat away too far away from each other. It was the Leeds United that we saw last season. It was the chaos, the organised chaos of, like, you know, just mentalness of the way that we play the game at such like full tilt aggressive football. And I think that ultimately is what will, in my opinion, pull us away from danger and make sure that we are comfortably not involved in the relegation battle going into the last sort of closing 3 to 4 weeks of the season. I think that's the difference. I mean, Patrick Bamford's been a massive miss, and I think he'll be out
17 games. It'll be on Saturday, I think. Maybe 17 games he's missed.
I don't think we see him again this year, if I'm honest.
Do you not?
Nah, I don't think we see him again this season, to be honest, which is really, really disappointing for him and for us, because obviously he won't make the World. You'd imagine he won't make the World Cup squad with missing so many games. So it's mega disappointing. But yeah, if we come through, which I think we will, and stave off relegation, you know, we talk about Bielsa getting Leeds promoted, like absolutely crazy ability, you know, achievement from Marcelo to keep us in the league. You know, talking about how many injuries we've had, how desperately out of form some players had been at the beginning of the season, you know, and then we stay up. You know, it'd be an achievement in itself. One that will not get gratification for, and one that we don't want gratification for, because if we get it, it means that people like us when we don't want people to like us. But I mean, there's a bit of reports today, Joe, about Marcelo and potentially replacements. I think that's the club just protecting itself a little bit in case he does move on. What's your thoughts? I know we discussed it over a week about Do we think he'll stay? And I sat in the camp that I think this might be his last season. I'm beginning to change my mind slightly, but what do you still say at the same boat that he stays?
Yeah, well, I did say that. I'd said right at the start that this could be. But the way January went, it leads me to believe that maybe he's sticking around, because as much as they wheeled to Bielsa, and Bielsa seems to have the power within the camp, and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you give him that power? You don't want to upset him, do you know what I mean? So that he goes, I've had enough, because it's something he would do. But I do believe if there was a genuine, thought of him, leaving, I think they would have to have that conversation. They'll say, Marcelo, look, yeah, we understand, the way you are, but the fact that he turned down certain players, we know as well, guys. We know he'll have been offered a lot more than just Brendan Aronson, a lot more than just, not even just from agents and other clubs offering us players, but Orta will have gone and found players and offered them to Bielsa, and that's, we were linked to a lot of people. I know some of it's BS at time, but that Bielsa will have knocked these back. And I just think, had he have known in his mind that he was leaving at the end of the season, maybe that conversation would have happened, and maybe he would be willing to at least accept these players coming in if he was leaving. I seen someone on Twitter actually this morning do that fateful thing of saying, I've been told by a friend that he's leaving, and they ended up deleting the tweet. So I was thinking, John mentions, you'll have probably seen it. I think he was the one who sorted me out going on the walk for the Leeds United Foundation. So I don't know if he's close to the club or whatever, but I seen it and I thought, wow, his mentions must be getting lit up right now.
Yeah.
We've all been there, bro. We've all been there.
Not anymore. I'm a change man. Don't tweet out anymore.
Yeah. Well, I put them out and just mute him. So
Good tactic, mate, to be fair. Good tactic.
You're arguing with yourself. I don't know. I guess I'm more hopeful. Like, I did actually. There was a comment on which video was it? It was the one about Somerville that I did, and I was just having a look at some of the comments earlier, and someone said, why can't you have a mind of your own, Joe, not just buy into what Bielsa says all the time? And someone says, well, when he leaves at the end of the season, he's going to have to pull down his Bielsa posters out of his bedroom. And then I started to go into this thing of thinking, oh, wow, what about when he does go? Because I literally am in love with the man. So mate,
you've got him tattooed on yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
He's there forever, man. He's there forever. Yeah. He's going nowhere, is he? So, mate, do you know what, though? Like, I went into a bit of a rant on Talking Shit the other week. Like, it's important that we also evolve as a club. And Marcelo will be forever the second most successful Leeds manager, I think he is, behind Revy now, in terms of time and percentage and wins and stuff like that. And do you know what? Eventually, he will be history. It will be a part of history of this club. Yeah. I think the important thing is that when Marcelo does choose to leave, and it'll be on his terms for sure, is that we evolve and we build on the very, very strong foundations that he's put in, not just at first team level, but throughout the club. The improvements to the training ground, the structure in terms of the youth side, the emphasis on analysis, he'll be probably one of. He's like a little bit like in a funny sense, a bit like Pablo, where when we had him, we probably didn't realize how such an amazing talent Pablo was, and now we don't have him. Although I don't think he improves this side now. I think his time had kind of come and it was time for him to move on. Sure. But, you look back and you think Pablo really, as a champion, when we were in the Championship, really had no right to be playing in the Championship. He's still a phenomenal player when we first signed him back from abroad. And, it's the same with Bielsa. I just hope that whoever's in charge of the club at the time when Bielsa does leave, that they continue to build on what he's started at Leeds, because it's a 10-year project easily, and continue to push us forward and not just throw it all out a window, because it's been mega important what he's done just on field, off the field for me.
Do you know what as well? And I've been hammered for this in the past as well. Not hammered, but people disagree that I say it's the best football Leeds United have played, and people of an older generation will say to me, no, the Revy era, etc. But it wasn't too long ago. I think it was about, I don't know, couple of weeks back anyway, and there was an old fella who came and chatted to me at where I stand. You know, I like to go in early, me see the lads train and that, and we were chatting, and you know, he said, and he was around at that time, and he went, "This football's better," and he explained. He went, "Just the pictures, just everything, and allows it to be a better brand of football." That's not to say that if Revy was playing and had the facilities and everything, that Bielsa did. But for me, and I know people will disagree, but I wasn't around then, but the football that I see under Bielsa is the best. And this is why I idolise the man and all that sort of stuff, because I do think it's very short-sighted, because I've seen it this season, and I have a mental note of each one who commented and have said at times Bielsa out, Bielsa this, because and I'll say to them, I remember, and I'll go, see, you fuck it. You know what I mean? Because I think it was crazy stations. There still is people now who are dumb, or don't think he's, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just think they're off their head. But
I think the thing is, mate, in the comparison to the Revy side, I think it's a little bit harsh because they're all snapshots in time. So, like, I would argue if we put this Bielsa style and some of the players in the Revy era, they'd find it hard. And if we put Don Revy in our era now, he'd find it hard because it was slightly different times, a lot different times, different approaches to football. The conditions were much more difficult. I mean, if you look at the Eddie Gray goal against Burnley, the one that he actually claims the first one's better than the second one, where he takes on something like 9 men and scores. Like, the pitch is an absolute cowfield. Like, you know, like my lad comes off now on a Sunday, and if the pitch is a bit of a cowfield, he complains about the pitch, and I think, okay, I take your point, it's very valid, but it's like you and him watching, you know, going down and watching, you know, pictures like we see. I mean, Villa on Wednesday night, I was high enough up to sort of appreciating. The surface was phenomenal. It looked artificial, to be honest. It was that good. And Ellen Road, like, I went down to see the 23s on Monday night, and again, the surface is just outrageous. And I mean, the other thing would be, and I'll chuck this out there, I think this Bielsa side would struggle back then because they're not used to the conditions. But I think, my God, that Revy side would have been phenomenal on this pitch, by the way. On an actual playing surface, they would have been absolutely incredible because they could play some crazy football for a team in that era.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading a comment there. I got sideways. I don't understand what you mean, Mark. He says, "Why don't you involve your subscribers more, Joe, when other tubers are on? Love you both as Leeds fans, but you do seem self-obsessed with likes." I don't even think I've asked for a like yet on this video. I don't think I have. And I am getting you involved, Mark. If you want to get involved, I can invite you if you want. If you've got your computer in front of you, mate, I'll put the StreamYard link on, and you can jump in.
I'll just chuck this one out there. From our point of view, my point of view, I don't look at statistics. I don't look at who likes us tweets. I don't look at who retweets us tweets. I don't even have the login for the Instagram page. I just share stuff on Facebook. I moved away very rapidly from when we first started talking shit to just take it for what it is, which is, I get to talk about Leeds on a Wednesday night with my mates. A fair few people engage with us. Some people say it's all right. Some people want us dead. Other than that, I don't really care. If people subscribe, people like it, people don't like it, I don't care. If one day we log on live and nobody's on there, then I'll think about knocking it on the head. But before that, I don't really care, if I'm honest. If I'm really honest, I don't care. Like, subscribers and stuff mean absolutely nothing to me. So I couldn't really care, to be honest. Not that I don't appreciate all the people that do subscribe, by the way. But I don't care. I know we kind of went, we want 1,000, but that's just because we got so close to 1,000. We didn't we're not really that bothered. If that makes sense. So yeah.
But on a level though, if you aren't subscribed to Talking Shut, their link's in the description. It's actually in the title. It's in the title of this video, so you can just click it and it'll take you straight there. So yeah.
Do you not find it funny? This has run us off on a bit of a tangent a little bit, but do you not find it funny how people outside of the Leeds content creators like to think that there's some sort of rivalry between us all and that we all hate each other and all that type of stuff? Could not be any further from the truth.
No.
Like, I listen to and watch certain content creators. I don't watch others. Purely because I don't have time, to be honest. A lot of the time, if I watched all the Leeds content creators, I'd probably never be able to work or look after my family or wash. But like, Yeah, this idea that there's a rhetoric and that we all care and that we're driven by success, it's so far from the truth. Like in my normal world, I think I'm fairly successful and I'm happy and comfortable. I don't need proxy success elsewhere, to be honest. I just enjoy talking about Leeds.
I'm a student, bro.
Got too much to talk about. That's basically it. Why I started it. Got too much to say for myself. That's basically it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Solomon said, "Thank you for the super chat." He said, "Loving this chat, lads. Let me buy you a couple of pints. I'll make sure next time I see Gaz at the football that I get him a drink on your behalf, Solomon.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't drink but I'll have a cup of mate." I'll get a,
is it mate or mate?
What mate, is it? I don't know, because when I put mate on my phone now, you know when you get emojis,
it
actually
gives you tea.
It gives me that mate emoji. Yeah, so I think it M-A-T-E, or do they say mate? I don't know. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. This is a good question. Are you going to the Man United game, guys?
I am. Yes, I am sat in the Kop, which is quite ironic and funny that I'm sat in the Kop, and the last time Leeds played Man United at Ellen Road, I sat in the Kop then as well. So it's quite nice, like on full circle without all the shit stuff in between.
Was this in the Premier League?
Yeah,
we played them in, because I was at the game where we played them in the. It'd have been the. I don't know if it was not the. It wouldn't have been called the Carabao then, but we got beat. I think it was 3-1. Michael Owen got a couple. Yeah, because I remember Alex Ferguson put out quite a strong lineup because we'd actually beat them. Obviously, not too long.
I think that's that one. Was that the one where Giggs scored at the Kop end?
Possibly, mate. Possibly. I was in the East Stand though. I didn't have a season ticket then. So.
I was at the fourth rounder at Old Trafford when Beckford knocked him out. I was at that. But no, the last time I saw the Scummers at Ellen Road was in the Premier League when I was knee high to a grasshopper.
Wow. It's a funny thing of this, though, right? So I don't know if I do actually have a sort of like spare for that. But yeah. So I'm waiting on my brother. He plays golf, and he's pretty good at it. So if he wins his game at the weekend, he'll be playing in the semi-final or something, and that means that he won't be able to go to the game. So at that point, I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I competition it off? But then I was thinking, would everyone just hammer me for that? I don't know.
More worrying about that is the fact that your brother's spoiling a good walk by playing golf when he could go watch Leeds.
I know.
That's the first thought that's bouncing into my head. Like, hold on, a walk carrying some clubs, hitting some stuff about, or Ellen Road and Man United.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair play. Whatever your poison, man, innit? Whatever your poison.
I don't know what to do with it though, bro. I mean, I've obviously. It's either my brother will pay for it because this person can. Well, this is the mad thing. This person whose it is, who I go with, who I sit close to. Yeah. We were at the game last time, Newcastle, and he went, "They've changed the fixture time." He went, "I'm away with the missus." I went, "You're gonna have to change it." Then he went, "I can't." So like, there's another one that's fair play, because I mean this with the best will in the world, and my missus is in the next room. If we pre-book something and then the Man United fixture got to, I'd say, "I'm sorry, love, we're gonna have to change it." Like, I'm going to Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? I could do that, couldn't I? Best tipper, I could say, right, biggest super chat gets this.
But then, mate, you get hung out for being over aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also a little bit, Gaz, I was thinking, like, I don't know what your thoughts are. I'm thinking out loud, but I was thinking, even if I put it out as a competition, like, straight away, I reckon I would still get battered for it on social media. Do you know what I mean? Because it'd be like, "Oh, why is this allowed? How's that?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
mate, I got battered on social media today for being successful in the ticket ballot as a member. That was quite an interesting one.
Yeah. Wow.
Why do you get to go all the time? Because I log on and hope to get a ticket. Yeah, but you go all the time. Not all the time. Missed quite a few games, but I've been quite successful as well. Because I sit there with like 15 devices around me, like some sort of like Matrix hacker, waiting to hopefully try and get a ticket. So it's a strange old world, this social media. The place where people form opinions on you based off 240 characters or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Our good friend, Dad from the Dad and Lad said, loving the Jazz Wainport show, sitting in the car park of a footy pitch in Stockport. Feel for him living over that side of the woods, the Pennines. Whilst Lad trains with the new amateur team, he's been invited down to wearing his blue away Leeds top proudly.
Shout out Dad and Lad.
It's a show I miss. It is a show.
Yeah, I miss it, mate. Yeah. It was one, the Dad and Lad podcast was one that I could put on in the car when my missus were in the car and she would go, it's all right. I quite enjoy this. Whereas if I put like any other Leeds content on, she's like, turn it off. I hear you on about it more than anything.
It's because I had that breakfast show vibe and little competitions and all that sort of
fun and stuff.
Yeah, it was brilliant because and what happens is sometimes, like not anymore because there's so many and I do like quite a lot of varied, but there was a point in time where there wasn't as many podcasts. So I literally, if we battered someone in the championship, I'd have done you, Square Ball, Ellis, I'd have done them all. And then I'd be like, I've got to wait ages now for another one. So when Dad and Lad was there, it was like every morning, every time I go, I could just stick it on, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's gone now. I tried to take on their mantle with the daily leads, and genuinely it is rock hard to be able to just pump that out on the daily. Like, so Dad and Lad, fair play to them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah. Any other games you're looking forward to this weekend, Joe? I know you said you're pretty much a Leeds connoisseur, not much more, but is there any other games that jump out at you for the coming weekend that you think, I'll take in that one?
I don't know if it's Sunday, but I like the look of Newcastle Villa.
Let's have a look, mate. That is indeed on Sunday, 2:00 kickoff on Sky Sports Premier League. 17-10 Newcastle to win, 12-15 the draw, and 6-4 for the away win. So, Spurs Wolves, that stands to be a terrible fixture. Leicester against West Ham, 4:30. That's your Super Sunday on Sunday. Saturday games, Scummers versus Southampton. Put your money on Southampton to turn Scummers over. Yeah, it'll be quite funny. Brentford Palace, could do with Palace doing as a solid there. Chelsea Arsenal 3:00. Everton Leeds, Watford Brighton. Whew, God, I want to watch that. That sounds horrific. And Norwich Man City at 5:30 on Saturday. So they're this weekend's fixtures. Just a little tinkle outside the Premier League. What else?
Champions League's back next week as well.
Mate, there's a decent game, 12:30 on Saturday. Huddersfield, Sheffield United, both strong teams. Leeds United links to both. Carlos Carbram versus Paul Heckingbottom. So that'll be worth a little look if you need something to burn your eyes out with.
I tell you, here's a little bit for you as well. I was listening to the radio. Obviously, I live in the northeast. I was going to pick up my kids who live in Stockton, which is just outside of Middlesbrough. And Steve Gibson and Mr. Mel Morris have had like a mutual like sorting out of their issues. I don't know if Mel Morris has offered to pay him some money or something. But that looks like that's been sorted now, which means that Derby County can now be bought without the threat of impending action from Mel Morris. I think something's still going on with Wickham. But Mike Ashley might be buying Derby, that's a mad one, isn't it?
The thing is, though, man, I know the Geordies, obviously not too far from yourself, but they had a real beef with Mike Ashley. But, mate, he spent some dollar on them. He spent some dollar up there. Like, you can't really knock him for that. But I think the problem with him that they thought he was part of the sort of Cockney Brigade, didn't they? Who were like, coming and taking over. He brought Pardew in and get him a 46-year contract and all that type of stuff. So, like, I think he was. I'm not saying for 1 minute he's a good owner, but I think that the abuse he got for not taking them forward is a little bit akin to the Man U fans moaning about the Glaziers. 1 minute they loved him because they'd signed Ronaldo, and now they realise that he's a busted flush. They want the Glazers back out again. Out come the green and yellow scarves once more, and we complain. Norwich
scarves.
Yeah, and we complain because they've spent like a couple of billion since Alex Ferguson went and had pretty much no success. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with Derby. To be honest, do you know something? I think Shrek keeps him up.
Do you?
I think
Yeah.
it keeps them up. Yeah, man. I do. I know my local team, Barnsley, are done. They're stick a pin in them. They're finished.
Which is mad, isn't it? Because, like I said, last season they were close to the playoffs, weren't they?
Yeah, but the problem is with their ownership model, it's it's the money ball thing. Bring players in for low money, develop them, sell them. So it's got limited success really. Obviously, Mowat, one of their better players, sold him to West Brom. Don't think he's playing a lot for West Brom anymore, to be honest. And a few other sort of things with that. Got Daryl DK, he scored him a few goals. Went back to Orlando, finds himself at West Brom. I try and watch Barnsley when Leeds are not playing just because they are my local team, and I know a lot of Barnsley fans. But yeah, they're so far detracted from the team that they were last year in the style of play and stuff that the Barnsley fans are pretty much done. They think that's it. Yeah. League One for them next year.
It's mad, isn't it? Because bit of a surprise package, I think, in the Championship this year has been Coventry, hasn't it? And Coventry's.
And Forest since Steve Cooper's took over, he's got.
Do you know what I like? Do you know what? I'd like Forest back, those guys, because they're a big club, man.
Yeah, man. I'd agree with that. I mean, Steve Cooper's a good coach. He did well at England youth levels. He did well at Swansea, but just couldn't get him over the line. He looks a little bit like an Hush Puppy dog. If you remember the Hush Puppy dogs when we were kids on the advert, they used to sell Hush Puppy shoes. He does look like that, like Droopy Dog a little bit, like permanently. But he's obviously a good coach, believes in youth, plays the right way. You want teams like that in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about Mitrovic as well? I think Mitrovic has scored like 28 goals already, I swear.
But the problem is, mate, he's become the new Dwight Gale, hasn't he? Where he can only do it in the Championship. Yeah. Like as soon as he goes steps to the Premier League, that's him. He's done. So
that's insane. Let me find out. I swear.
He has, mate. He's got
like 27 or something, man. It's mad.
He's got something like 23, 24 league goals. I'm sure he has.
Wow.
I don't know about the rest of it.
Insane. But I said this to my mates, because obviously, like you with Barnsley, a lot of my mates who I used to work with up here are Middlesbrough fans when I lived down there for a little bit. I live in Sunderland now. There's another one. They're going through it at the minute. Obviously, Lee Johnson just got sacked after they got battered 6-0 by Bolton. But I said as soon as Wilder went in there, he will sort them right out. And they're seventh. And I think Borough could come up through the playoffs, to be honest, which, again, I don't mind. Middlesbrough hate Leeds United, by the way, genuinely, cannot abide us. And when I first moved up here, they believe there's a rivalry. And I'm like, nah. Genuinely, before I even moved up here, I didn't even realise this was a thing. But Middlesbrough fans,
there's a lot of clubs like that, though, mate, isn't there? I know when Clegg Huddersfield came up to Premier League, I had a mate who they were in the Premier League playing against Liverpool and stuff, and he only cared about what Leeds did, and then tried to dress it up that there was some sort of rivalry. And I was like, mate, if I was in the Premier League, I wouldn't give two shits about Huddersfield. We are now in the Premier League, and I still don't give two shits about Huddersfield. I could not care what they're doing. I'd take a cursory look at the league generally, and I know they're doing all right under Carlos Carbaran, to be fair. But other than that, I don't care. I don't go out of my way to message Huddersfield fans after they get defeated by Wickham or something on a Saturday, because I don't care, because we're in the Premier League and that's what it's all about. But I mean, Grant McCann going into Sunderland for the old Hull manager.
No, it's Alex Neil.
Is he going to Sunderland?
I believe so. Let me just.
Sure, sorry, reports today said McCann going in.
Alex Neil in advanced talks, yeah.
Do you know
9 hours ago? So I think it's Alex Neil.
Because
Roy Keane turned it down, didn't he?
Man, have you heard Under the Cosh talking about Keane at Sunderland?
Oh no, what?
Yeah, there's a Liam Lawrence. Remember Liam Lawrence?
Yeah.
There's a podcast.
Portsmouth.
Oh, Stoke. I remember him at Stoke and at Sunderland. But there's a podcast with him talking about Keane. It's basically just want to fight everybody all the time. Really? And you see that only wears for so long. People start getting a bit fed up of it after a bit. So Liam Lawrence. Portsmouth, that's interesting, that Alex Neil. You know, Alex Neil, I always rated him at Preston. He got them playing a bit.
Yeah, he did.
He did well at Barnsley, actually, when he was manager of Barnsley. But then he kind of lost his way a little bit, didn't he? Norwich? Did he go Norwich?
Yeah, he went to Norwich for a bit under Dele, didn't he? Yeah.
Where are you? Interesting one, yeah. I don't know, mate. I mean, if you had your pick, if in a full FIFA style, if you could take teams out the Premier League and swap them with another team, who would you put in there? Which teams would you take out and who would you swap them with?
Oh, right. Well, I would take Forest.
Yeah.
I would take Forest. I do like Forest.
For who, though? Got to do a 1-for-1. So Forest in, who's going?
How many am I allowed?
As many as you want.
So Forest, I'd get rid of... Let me get there. I'm going to have to get... I'd get rid of Brighton. Brighton is not it. Yeah. Brighton are not it for me. Sorry, Brighton.
Although Potter, I like Potter. He does. Is
yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I didn't say Burnley, because I really, 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 really like Sean Dyche. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd have said Burnley straight on the fly. I do actually like Sean Dyche. Right. I'm going to have a proper look at this now.
Meant to be off the cuff here. We're meant to be like the thought through process.
Everyone in that as well. We want to know.
Yeah, get me.
Right. I'm having a look at the Prem. I tell you what I'd take as well. I want some more Yorkshire derbies.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'd rather have Sheffield United than Wednesday because I can't stand Wednesday, but I do believe Wednesday's a bit more tastier. I have more respect for a chef. Wednesday. I tell you what about Bradford City? Let's get Bradford City back up there, and that's a Yorkshire derby. Although I don't know about you guys, but I've never really felt that Leeds have had a proper derby with Yorkshire teams. I feel that Man United's our big one.
Yeah, mate. I think traditionally them. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been going to Leeds for not as long as some people, but maybe 27 years, 28 years. And for me, it was always the Man United lot. And then I do remember when we were in and around Bradford for a bit and the rivalry did kind of come up. We got them in the JPT a couple of times, I seem to remember. And there was a bit of a rivalry there.
Didn't it? It kicked off that time.
Yeah, I took my wife to that game when it kicked off and she's never been since. Yeah. I've never took her since after that. But yeah, I think Barnsley like to think that there's a rivalry, which is quite ironic because I live sort of North Barnsley and the majority of my village is Leeds fans, which is quite funny. But they like to think there's a rivalry. Wednesdayites, I know a lot of Wednesdayites, they like to think that there's some sort of rivalry. But if they're being honest, their rivalry is with the Blades and vice versa. But like, I think Man United traditionally is our sort of rival, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I tell you what, I put for new rivalry. I'd bring a brand new rivalry. I'd put Halifax Town in there. Because they're my town, the West Yorkshire, and we could just create this brand new rivalry.
So for me, mate, I'd bomb Watford. Pathetic, insignificant club, another London club-ish. Although they don't like being called London, do they? Watford, they like being called Staines, I think it is, or something like that. I don't know. I would take Watford out. I would put Forest in purely because they're a big side and they've got proper fans. I would take out Brighton, just like you, and I'd chuck in there Chef Wednesday. Just because I love a Yorkshire derby, even though it's not really a derby, but I like a Yorkshire derby. And I would take out, I would take out Bournemouth from all existence of football and put Halifax Town in the Championship. And then I would take out, of the Prem. Who else? I'd take Brentford out. Brentford. Although they played good football for a bit, I can't do the way that Thomas.
They just lump it up to big man, Ivan Toney.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do the way that Thomas Frank chooses gum, or the way that he like gets his tactics board out and all that type of stuff out like sticks and bit. And I'd put Blades in there because can you imagine a Chef Wednesday Sheffield United Premier League game? That'd be pretty impressive. Yeah. And then Leeds getting to go to them grounds as well would be good. Yeah, exactly. So that'd be the tinker change I'd make. Oh, and I'd rub Man United out. I'd make them disappear, or I'd make them be called something like, I don't know, Salford Reds or something, just to really annoy them. Yeah, that's what I do.
It's a good that, mate. I enjoyed that. I'm just having a look at some of the tables now, because I remember, obviously, I think it was my brother. I cut it up as well, right? You remember the Premier League sticker books? He completed one of them. He completed one of them, right? And I cut it up. He went mental.
Why, man? What did you cut it up for? Anger?
I was just sticking them on my wall.
Did take your Action Man off you or something?
No.
Oh, you cut up to stick them on your wall. I'm with you.
Yeah. Like, because I went through a stage where, like, I just covered the wall with just loads of stuff. A bit like what my old room used to look like when I used to do these videos.
Yeah,
and cut it up. But I remember, like, when Swindon and that were it.
Yeah. Andy Ritchie played for Oldham in the Premier League.
Mental.
Sure he did. Mate, yeah, there's been some wildcard teams in the Prem, to be fair, over the years, haven't there? Like Swindon, Oldham.
But there was all the Yorkshire boys in the Prem at one point as well, right? Wednesday United, Sheffield United, Leeds United, you know?
Sheffield United weren't in the first Premier League season, were they? Sheff Wednesday were. My first game, 1994, at Ellen Road, were Leeds, Sheff Wednesday. I seem to remember. I'm sure it was 94. The irony of it is now we're with a guy called Martin Foster, and he's in that programme.
6-year-old. How old were you?
In 94, 10.
Yeah.
10. Yeah. But the lad I work with now is in the programme from that day, which is hilarious. Proper hilarious. He was like a proper nipper in the youth side. He was like fleshing the squad out kind of thing. So yeah, man, it was good. Really
There's
good.
a question. Do you know any like who's the best footballer like you've played with? Like, have you been able to, even at school? Because the reason I ask is I played with Tom Clark, who only in school footy team. He played for Huddersfield at the time. His brother did as well. Centre half. Him and his brother Nathan and Tom. I think Nathan ended up at Leyton Orient for a period of time, and then Tom went to Preston. Now he's at last time I checked, he was at Gary Neville's squad. Salford, yeah. He rocked up there. Honestly, guys, because this was always the thing, like, he was unbelievable at school. Unreal, right? Like, streets ahead. I mean, our school football team, Sorby Bridge in Halifax, was not great, but he was just streets ahead of everyone else across Halifax in our year. It was just amazing. And he never made it to the Prem, and it just made me realise just how big that jump be, because I was thinking how good he was when I was at school. Imagine, like, how good Wayne Rooney was when he was at school and stuff like that. You just think, wow, these kids must have been unreal. But
I played briefly with a lad called Reece Maynell, who was a left back. Or he continues to be a left back, and he played for Barnsley, and he went on loan to Gretna when they were in the SPL. So me and him used to play like sort of down the park kind of thing. He was a bit younger than me, so never played in the same sort of team together, but we played down the park together. And he made obviously pro, went to Gretna. And I remember being in Iraq in 2003 when we were, sort of at war, if you like. And I'm at war in the sandpit, and he's playing for Gretna in the SPL against Rangers at Ibrox. And I was thinking, somebody's got this right and somebody's got this wrong. But I never had the talent to be that good. But played against Curtis Woodhouse. Played against Curtis Woodhouse not so long ago. He played at Middle Park in a charity game I played in. I think the biggest name I played against, Grobbelaar, played in that game. He played in goal. And I played
against Bruce Grobbelaar.
Yeah, I played right back in the game. There's a video on YouTube of me getting murdered by Andy Welsh, who's the current Bury manager. And I remember getting the ball in the right back position, looked up for a pass, and all I could see were Bruce doing handstands in the goal. And I dropped it off into Middle Park and took a bombing run outside, and I got it back. And I looked up and there was no one, so I thought, fuck it, I'm having a shot against Grobbelaar. And he could have just literally thrown his hat on it. And he did that thing of like letting it run towards him and then like really spectacularly dived on it. And I thought, you've having my life here, Bruce. Absolutely.
I thought you meant he was going to dive over it, then it felt so. I'll let him score.
And then Clyde Vinard scored 4 in that game, and it were incredible. I remember I was playing centre half at one point and against him, and I thought, he ain't running in behind because he's not in great shape. But wow, he could just find space and score. He just could score.
Vineyard played at that the gig that All Leeds TV did recently.
Yeah, mate, he could just score. He could just score. It was just a natural finisher. But yeah, some players played in that. Andy Oldsworth, Andy Welsh played. Effie Sodji played at centre half. Grobbelaar played. Kev Megson played. Who else played? Yeah, man, it was quite what they call the old town manager, Peter Jackson. He was the manager of the celebrity side. I think the Dictator's like 5-1 or something. So yeah,
I think Gaz wins that then. Mine played in Championship. You played against Bruce Grobbelaar, bro. There's no beating that, I don't think.
I wouldn't say played. I were on the same surface as him. I wouldn't say I played.
Mate, I'd be that. I'd have said, I'd have said I had an unreal shot on target against Grobbelaar.
Fucking mate. If you look on YouTube on Match for Heroes, it was played at Ossett Albion, and there's just an image of me trying to stop a shot from out wide, and the kid just checks back and squares it, and Vinard scores. I'm like, I can't do no about that.
We'll have to get people to check that.
Definitely. Yeah, man, have a look. It's good,
100%.
But yeah, I'd chuck them in there for sure.
Loads of love on this, mate. It's been good, hasn't it? Just having a chin wag.
Yeah, we just had a chin like an hour and 4 minutes. We did no notes, we did no prep. We literally made the name up about an hour and a half ago. Yeah, man, it's been class.
I could keep going, but I know she'll be like, where is he? Where is he?
She won't, mate. She's got control at telly. She knows when I'm going to come down. I'll put football on or something. So she's quite cool at stuff like that. Bless her.
I'm going to stick some on. I mean, I tell you what. Before have you watched the Tinder Swindler yet?
No, my next on my list is Ted Lasso. I'm dead late to it. I need to watch.
Never seen it, bro. Never seen it either.
On just before we do shoot off, have you watched Afterlife?
So I'm up to the second season. I've been really late on that.
Right, mate. So picture the scene. So like just to tell that I'm quite heavily tattooed. I've got a bald head. I get mistaken for Ross Kemp quite a bit. My missus came down on Sunday.
Ross Kemp.
Mate, I get it a bit now actually, but my missus came down on Sunday and I was just finishing the last episode of Afterlife. And she came in, sat down beside me, and she went, "So what's it all about?" And I literally could not finish a sentence. I was like a baby, man. I was crying.
Really?
I couldn't. Every time I started talking, I started crying again. And I was like, through tears and a bit of snot, I was like, "Get out! Don't look at me." I was like, "Go away! You're breaking the image. Like, get out! You can't see me cry." That type of thing, mate. Honestly, it is brutal.
Oh, really?
Brutal, mate. It's such a great series. Like, it's so expertly written. It's got perfect like bits of comedy in there, bits of seriousness. But mate, the end absolutely broke me. Absolutely broke me. I was like transported to being 10 when some kid stole me football, mate. It's horrendous. Really? I was like getting it that type of thing. I was shit. I was absolutely shot. I had to go for a walk around garden. It fucking was brutal, man. So good. Wow. So good.
I'm a season 2, bro. I've finished season 2.
The good thing about it is they're half-an-hour episodes, so you can smash a couple episodes out, mate. Give it a go, but prepare yourself for the last episode.
Really,
it's brutal. Yeah,
I love the guy, man. The guy, when he's doing the play, man, season 2, when they're building up to that play, and he's stood on the stage and he's doing his comedy acts, man. Do you know the guy I'm on about, innit? Oh my god. Yeah. He goes on about his wife and
the guy who delivers the letters, mate. It gets better. He delivers the newspapers. He gets better in season 3, to be fair with him. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, what a masterpiece of a show. But honestly, I cried like a baby, man.
Well, like Ricky Gervais is the GOAT, isn't he? He's the GOAT.
I don't know, I didn't like him I don't really like him. I don't like his stand-up.
You don't watch The Office?
I don't watch The Office, but I just took to that.
None of that?
No, none of that. I just can't take to him, but he's so good in Afterlife. So good. But yeah, cried like a baby, man. So wrap yourself in for that one.
Oh, I will. Brian Gittins. Is that his
name?
Brian
Gittins. Mate, in fact, going on about Afterlife, when I went down to Villa on Wednesday, me and my son got there a bit early. So we do this a lot, me and my son at away games. We like cover anything Leeds up and just go for a mooch around stadium and just have a good look at it. And we'd gone down to the Alt End and the team coaches arrived. So my son's like, "Oh, quick, let's go down and watch players." But as I stood there, Ricky Gervais's dad pulled in his car. Not his actual dad, the dad from Afterlife. Who's obviously in the care home. He pulled in. He's from York, I think he must be a Leeds fan. And,
wow.
He pulled in like his Range Rover. And so I rang my missus straight away. I was like, "You'll never guess I've just seen the caretaker from Harry Potter." She was like, "Oh, Harry Potter." And I was like, "Yeah," because I don't think I can remember. But yeah, man, he was down at Villa Ground on Wednesday, so he must be a Leeds fan. Straight away, I was like, "I need to tap him up for talking shit, get him on, man."
Yeah, definitely.
But don't even know how to start getting that bridge built, by the way.
That would be amazing, though. Like,
yeah.
That'd be class.
45 minutes talking about Harry Potter, 15 minutes talking about Leeds. It'd be class.
I was going to say, I would be there front and centre. If you did it at Ossett, I'd actually go down for that one. I'd be stood in crowd. Woo! He's good. There. Harmony says, "Got to get Gaz on more often. This has been a superb show." Well, that is the plan, you see. This isn't a one-off. It's a Friday show now. Thank football. It's Friday. I put it up earlier on and put live match preview. We've not even discussed really Everton, but to finish, let's give a score prediction, guys.
3-1 Leeds United. 3-0 up,
3-1.
and they get a consolation from probably some sort of shit set piece or something like that.
Yeah, I said 2-1 just because we can't keep clean sheets. I fancy them to score, but we will score more than they will. I think, like you said, I think Lampard's daft enough to try meet fire with players that aren't fit enough to be able to do it, and we'll just school them. I genuinely believe it. I think you got it, Bob, on talking short, about saying he'll probably, when you made that point of saying he'll probably go, do you know what? I'll throw in Van der Beek and Ali, and they'll just get absolutely beasted and overrun, and we'll win. And look, we've just got to be clinical. And, we didn't play bad against Newcastle. Me and you know in that first half, especially the amount of times that ball got cut back, if we're clinical, we win the game there as well, and we're on like a decent run. So, yeah, I think it'll happen. So 2-1, 3-1, Leeds United win. We'll probably be sat here next week saying, we knew that we'd give it the big balls, and now I think anything to leave us with, guys?
No, not really. I'm just looking forward to sport weekend again. Football.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again next week. I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow for the game, so I'll be live from 2:30. So if you're about, jump on and show the love, and I'll see you then. But for me and Gaz, for now, we will see you next Friday. Peace out.